Hey there YouTube, welcome back. This is the Allegheny Northern in N scale. Today we're going to do the 2023 January layout update. Okay, so to kick things off here, let's talk about what is new on the layout. And I took some time to pick up a couple more of the ScaleTrains autoracks. And I did a kind of sort of a review of these things back in August. So go take a look at that layout update, and it'll give you a little better view of these cars. But I now have 9 of these, and quite frankly, I don't really have any auto rack industries on the layout, so they're sort of just a nice piece to run every now and then. And I really don't foresee me purchasing any more of them. But it is nice to have a couple of auto racks here. I think they're interesting cars, so they make a nice addition to the layout. Okay, so a fair amount of our modeling efforts were spent on this far side of the layout, and we did the winter scene here, the melting snow. So I did continue that on, and gradually I'm getting less and less snow, right? So we're getting back into fall, and this was my first attempt at carved rocks out of foam. Uh, all it is took a hot knife to some stacked foam, and then painted with craft paint from Walmart. I think that turned out to be a pretty convincing rock face. I might go back in there with some powders later and just sort of weather it up a little bit, but I mean, in general, it worked. So I got the scenery done. I transitioned out of my snow and into autumn. And as you can see, the snow is getting less and less as we go on up through here. And then we came to probably, I'm skipping over this station scene here for just a minute to show you the rest of the scenery while the train's going by. So I call this scenery done. Obviously, I may go back and add a few things. There's always something that could be tweaked, something that could be made more realistic. Most of that scenery is all Woodland Scenics material. The trees are super trees. And once again, some more foam carved rocks. Same paint technique. The major thing that's missing here is the double tunnel portal, so eventually I'm going to have to go and get that put in there. But for right now, that's where we're leaving it. Okay, let's go back and talk about the station. Okay, in the how-to video, most of you commented that the roof on the station was a little wonky. And folks, I agreed with you. It was definitely wonky. So I took that roof that came with the kit off, and I replaced it with a Monroe Models peel and stick sheet, cut to size, trimmed out. And yes, I like that a lot more. That looks a lot better. They are brown in nature, and you don't really need to paint them. I chose to paint them to get the black look of an asphalt shingle that you would see on an old station. So I had already purchased the Woodland Scenics roofers, and yes, before anybody says anything, I know that those roofers are working on an old tar roof. That is not what we do anymore for commercial roofs, but that's what's available, so I made it work. It still gets the impression that there are folks working on the roof. The other thing here was obviously the station had seen some better days, worn paint, so I picked up some Woodland Scenics painters. And I'll try to get you a shot there. There they are, working on fixing up that station to bring it back to its old former glory. And then I have these masons down here. They are putting together what can obviously be seen as a very new stone wall. The station platform was built basically out of, I'm trying to get out of my own shadow here, basically built out of scrap styrene. So I've got a nice sort of stone look wall there, topped off with some angle, and then I've got a brick patterned sheet, quick railing around the outside, and now we have what looks like an operating station platform. So I wanted the parking lot to this platform to look just as old as the station itself. And so in order to do that, I used the AK Interactive's textured acrylic, which is called concrete. And it looks like, yep, you guessed it, concrete. And so I painted that up, stained that up using acrylic paints and washes, added some grass into the cracks there, and to signify weeds that had taken the opportunity to grow into parking lot destroyers, and then brushed on some quick painted lines to give it the parking spot and arrows, and I wanted everything to look like it was old and had been there forever in need of a replacement. So I believe that I achieved that goal here. I will have to add some cars. Obviously we've got, folks walking into the station, but they're walking in from nowhere, so I'm going to get some cars parked in there to sort of give the illusion that people are waiting to catch the train and go to work. So this is where most of the scenery time has been spent, in getting this sort of end of the layout, rough scenery. Obviously there's some little things that I still want to do, and this backdrop has got to go, so it did not work out the way I had hoped. The material actually ended up curling quite a bit, and it looks doesn't look the way I wanted it to, so it looks like it's about to fall over. It's good for right now because I can use it as a backdrop to take pictures and whatnot while I'm rail fanning, but it's not going to stay, so we're going to do something a little bit better, probably out of hardboard like it should have been. Okay, the other big change here was, as you're looking down the layout, you can see that there is scenery here in what I'm calling the cut. So as soon as this train passes, we'll swing the gate open and we will go look in at the cut. I'll show you exactly what that looks like. Okay, once again, we're talking basic scenery here. So I've got my retaining wall in, and I've got this ballasted, and now I've got my scenery. Actually, if I turn some lights on here, it might be a little easier to see. There we go. So I've got the scenery in. And once again, I consider all the scenery roughed in. You can see that the rails aren't painted yet, so that needs done. Lots of little things all over the place. But I brought the scenery all the way up and through the yard. Completed putting in the chain link fence to stop our workers from taking the plunge into the tracks. And then I also, because I worked on the scenery between the main line and the yard, you can see that there is chain link fence running along there as well. And what I did also is these three tracks, for some reason, I was having an issue. They were not getting power routed through the turnout, although the turnout works correctly. And so what I did, and I think you can just sort of see it, yep, right there, added some wires underneath the bumper just to be able to get a little bit of extra connectivity, and now I can run my intermodal yard without any issues. So that's perfect. And I can run these as single locomotives or as double, and they work just the same. And so although I'm not going to do any switching, I did want to pull the locomotives into this cut because I think this is a pretty cool shot here as you see the two locomotives, and obviously they're, you know, they're down here in the, bring it down to track level. But I think it's an interesting view here. Looks like I've come uncoupled, but we have an area like this in my hometown where the trains actually run in an open trench, but it's down below street level. It's kind of cool. So I wanted to get something like that in this layout, and here it is. And plus, it gives me the much needed elevation that I need to get that up to a nice level platform for the intermodal yard. Okay, and for those of you who are hearing that sound, I think I covered this already, but I did upgrade my throttle. I'm now using the DT602D. I absolutely love this throttle. This is a Digitrax throttle. Did not get rid of the old throttle. It's in the back behind staging there. It's being used as the helper unit for whether you're coming upgrade, downgrade, or if you are working in the back in the hidden staging yard. That is going to be your throttle for back there. So not that I'm going to do a full product review on this thing, but the screen is fantastic. You can switch your locomotives without being plugged in, which is also great. And if I go behind the wall, it still picks up the IR sensor, which the old throttle didn't. So I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. I don't have to bring the cord back with me. You can see the cord is hanging out of the panel right there. But I'm basically running on battery. It doesn't take a 9-volt. It's a AA battery. So I bought myself some rechargeable AA batteries, and that's pretty much how we're going to run the layout from here on out. Now let's talk about what's coming up, because that's pretty much what got done in January. So let's talk about what is going to come up here in February. Okay, first of all, the layout has a billion things that are just laying all over the place. So trees, like my trees are all knocked over, basically because when I planted them, I didn't glue them in place. So I got to go through, I got to fix all of my trees. I have to fix my bridge. I need to put the rest of my bridge in so that I can complete this snow plowing scene. So I need to get that done. Let's see what else. There are lots of little things where track needs filed, places I want to add another feeder connection, just simple things like that that are going to help improve the operation of the layout. I also have a bunch of cars that I've sort of bad work ordered that I need to get into my workbench, change out couplers, change out wheel sets, that sort of thing. I'm going to get all that done in February because all the little things that are annoying me right now, I need to get done. Also, what I want to do is I want to get my locomotives all speed matched. So I'm pairing up all of my locomotives. So once you see a set of locomotives together, they are pretty much going to stay together. So right now, I really like this match. This is the ScaleTrains. I did go with the Rivet Counter series. They are not sound equipped, and I do regret that, but these are awesome locomotives. I'm kind of on a ScaleTrains kick right now, so obviously I have the autoracks, which there's another shot of them just because they are freaking awesome. But also, I've got 2 of the locomotives, plan to add more. Would like them to do more in N scale, which they seem to be slow to do. Don't know why. So, ScaleTrains, if you're listening, please give us more N scale stuff. But I'm going to pair it up with this Kato SD40-2. They are somewhat speed matched, but I noticed they've been fighting each other lately, so I don't know if something needs cleaned or what, but that needs to be taken care of. So that's on the list of things to do. Also, what I want to do is I've got a bunch of random little scenery areas that, well, quite frankly, they can get done. There's no reason not to get them done. There's nothing going to be here other than scenery. So I'm going to go ahead, get this parking lot set, get the track ballasted, sort of start putting these scenes together so I don't have all these empty voids. So a lot of things planned here for February. I don't know how far I'm going to get through my list, but the first thing before I do anything else is going to be cleaning up the layout, getting all the little odds and ends that are broken or misplaced in the correct location. so that I can continue to enjoy operating the layout. Okay, so January was an excellent modeling month. Got a lot of time down here. I am working on something that is model related, but not model train related. I'm going to have some pictures of that in the Communities tab. I am using the Communities tab now, and I'm going to be posting still images of different things that are happening on the layout. So if you are looking to see what's going on between videos, that will be a place where you can go and see what I'm working on. I don't know how often I'm going to post it, basically when I have something noteworthy to show everybody. But February is, the weekends are booked up pretty solid, so I don't know if I'm going to get as much done as I hope I can, but we'll see how things go. So it's a short month too, so there's a couple of days that we lose, cost modeling time. But that's it for January, and we'll see you here. Probably the next video update, unless I do a Railfan video, will be in the end of February for the layout update.